Hello and welcome back to the channel where I'm excited to announce that I'm going to do a new series. I come across a channel. It's called Late Start Chess _ YouTube. It'll be in the description. A gentleman who is doing a Road to 2000, much like I am. I actually was referred to his video by YouTube, and I was watching his videos, and I noticed that he's rated around 700, which is in range to where I would be fully capable of teaching somebody. I could probably teach somebody up a decent amount higher, but like definitely I can teach a 700 how to improve. And so I reached out to him. Obviously, got his okay with everything, and basically I'm going to be doing various kinds of trying to instruct where I can. And today we're going to start off with recap videos of his games. So without further ado, we're gonna get into I'll just do the game review. So here's his page here on chess.com, and we're gonna go ahead and get into it. I'm just gonna go to the last game. It looks like yeah, let's get into this one. All right. And I am going to game review it, so it'll be like chess.com's game review, but a player can't always make sense of this. Just it'll just say a blunder, and sometimes you don't know why, especially if it's like an inaccuracy. Then it's even harder to know. So let's start the review. I've noticed that. Okay, so my opponent's playing against Hikaru Khan. Okay, so first off, one thing that I would definitely mention for Late Start Chess, I'm just going to call him that. I actually don't know the guy's name. Is follow openings, like build them, make a repertoires. So like this move, I've never seen this. I don't know if this is theory of any type. From all the theory I've seen, it's not. But I'll feel free to maybe hear back from on that. Doesn't seem like it's calling it an inaccuracy, so there's that. We'll leave it alone. Now, in this situation, I feel like, I know Gotham says in certain situations, I don't know if this is necessarily, it's saying this is not a bad move. I think it does make more sense to use these pawns in conjunction with each other. However, it's certainly not a bad move. So in this case, if the pawn was here, as you can see, black's already just slightly better. So now to my eye, this is hard to play. So his best move, trading off bishop, is the idea, it seems to be. Trade here. Best move, actually. That's a nice little counter attack. And dropping back. So here we lose the bishop. So I'm not gonna lie, this all could be theory. Maybe I'll hear back from Late Start Chess. This seems very convoluted, but I'll be curious to see if this is some kind of theory. So developing here, of course it says you missed the free pawn. Now this is a double attack. This is getting a little bit dicey here. Now, okay, so the eval bar plummets. Can we find why this is a huge blunder? So I believe the reason why this is a huge blunder is because after takes, and takes, which of course you wouldn't do, you would go takes, you can't take backward, you'll lose your queen. So this is just a calculating thing, which of course says they take with the wrong piece. Take here, and then of course we're not gonna, and I don't, so this blunders this. I haven't seen the the footage of Late Star Chess talking about this game. This is kind of hard to miss for 700. Just attacking with the battery with the bishop first. I get that, but it's gonna be tough. And then you're just down a material, a piece, and a pawn. But let's try and come up with something instructive. Okay, so in these last few moves, one thing that's going to take you from being 700 to, like, I'd say well over 1,000 is thinking about, so you took this pawn up here, which is fine. But once we're attacked by the knight, like, where can you go to not get attacked again? So you go here, which this is what's called a loose piece. Meaning that it's not coordinated with any other piece. So if it's attacked like this, that just gains black a tempo. Black is able to improve their position for free, okay? And then now it's saying to go to this square. I would say that's probably because, like, let's say if you castle, wait, you can't castle now. So if you could castle, the queen wouldn't be a loose piece, basically. So, all right. Okay, so this, once again, I think this is a pretty good teachable moment. You don't want to invite this because you're down in material, and that puts your queen on the back foot, kind of, and what's going to happen invariably. I haven't seen the game, but this rook's probably going to come in and attack your queen, and you're just in this position. Okay, I'm telling you what not to do. Well, maybe it's time to do something like I'm not going to click it, but do something like h4 and bring the rook up, do a rook lift. This is a very bad position, I will say that. It's a very tough one to play, but you have to try. That's what's going through your head, is you gotta get this situation fixed. Okay, that does open up to where the rook can do something, but yeah, I just think it's really worried about your back rank. And that just, I'm sure. Now, what happens here? Okay, so you took your eye off this square, which is just fatal, to win a pawn. Best would have been to just take the knight, I think, because the queen had to defend this square, which I'm sure you were actually fine before you moved your queen. So I mean, just as much as I'm gonna try and be instructive, feel free to instruct me on if this is too vague, too thorough, what have you. So we're gonna look at at another game. Go back to the main page. All right, so now actually this game that I'm about to look at was just being played, and at 86.1%, I will say this: I do think that you missed a mate on what would it be, D7, if you were white. Yeah, you were white. So a mate on D7 right after the bishop took on G3. There was mate on G7 with the queen, because I looked at your game real quick right before I came here, and you had like 4 minutes left. So I was like, I can't really wait. So, all right, let's look at this game. Let's do game review. And the game swung in favor of white after they captured a free piece in the opening. Okay, so we're going to do it from black's view. All right. Playing the Caro-Kann. Somebody else plays the Caro-Kann. All right, this is a variation that Gotham plays a lot. This is fine. I actually take here because if you let them take, it just makes for a harder to play position. There's ways around it. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying it's so much easier to just take this pawn. Okay, so now the bishop is blocked in, although it's calling this a good move. Also might be kind of hard to play this. You can't pin the knight, you can't get rid of the bad bishop as soon. Perfectly reasonable play though. Okay. So now if they take, you just lose a pawn. So that is a calculation thing. You actually, once again, it's saying to take. But even if you didn't put your knight in the way of the bishop, you were going to lose that pawn because after takes, it's guarded by the bishop. So you would have had to do something like, so they're going to take. And you go here, which is a good square for the knight. I mean, this is how I play. These knight squares is what I'm meaning. And, all right. So they move the bishop back, and it's a blunder. So I'm going to try and spot why this is a blunder. It's only plus 1.8 for black. Now, immediate things I'm seeing is takes. Okay, this is actually like the fact that you can take here. This is a big teaching point. Like if you can take here, yeah, you're getting a bishop for a knight. A lot of times that's supposed to be better, but you're making them move their F pawn. They no longer have this king safety on this diagonal. That's not right, but you get what I'm saying. And also the e pawns are going to be doubled. That's horrendous for their position. And then after that, you get to win this pawn, which is why they're calling it a blunder. So that you just didn't you missed that. I'm not worried about that. Like blundering a piece happens. But what I'm more worried about, like trying to teach, is how this was such a game changer. And that's the kind of stuff you have to look for. It's positional play. It has nothing to do with material. It actually did, because you would get to win the bishop after. But let's keep on going here. So this is a pawn trade. It's actually not, because they have this attacked 1, 2, 3 times, and you have it defended twice. So you just gave up a pawn there. Okay. This doesn't really do anything, which is why I think they're telling you to just do this. In this case, so basically, why they're saying to do this is because if you go here, you then see this pawn, and also you have an attack here, so it's a double attack. It doesn't really do much, but so then that's a calculation. Yeah. So one thing, I guess, a teachable moment here would be I don't do this nearly well enough. It's a very disciplined trait, but don't end your calculation on their move, end it on your move, end it on their move. So you're thinking, I'm attacking the queen. It's like, okay, what can white do? So if you just did it real simple, okay, well, they can take with the queen. Does it hang the queen? No, because the knight sees it too. Taking with queen is probably like the most forcing by all means, because it comes with check. So yeah, so that's it for this game. I'm not sure what happened. Okay, so they missed it. And that was with check, and you had just kind of decided it wasn't worth playing. So all right, and let's do one more game. Let's get our bang for our buck here. Let's cover Let's cover a win. This is your highest rated, highest accuracy win. I'm going to make it my goal to see where any improvements could have been made. Obviously, the engine's going to tell me, but to try and explain those improvements. All right, we play the Caro-Kann. I actually did not know that was the best move. That's interesting. So I'm learning things. Okay. All right. So one thing that Gotham Chess says is that, like, you don't want to do this. You want to use these pawns together. Where is this knight going to go? Could go like here. It's just not the best. I mean, you can put this pawn here, and then the pawn's never going to be weak. I'm actually getting kind of tired, but yeah. So we go here, takes, castle, love it. All right. So it's saying, do this to go after the bishop. I think that's a fine move that you played. This would be exactly why you don't want to play that, and also don't ever listen to me, is because you immediately just lose your battery, or double A battery, as Hikaru says. That's kind of interesting. It says go here. You gotta like move the rook or something. Explain. And then you just take doubling. I assume at some point the idea is to take here, which I think is what you were getting after. But you go here, which I think the one thing I'll say about this move is, like, what is a prospect of your knight? So you can't drop it back, gets taken. You can't go here, you can't go here, you certainly can't go here. It defends your bishop, but I don't think that's important. So like, if I were to make this move in this position, like, I could lose a game off of this move. I would expect to lose a game off this move. It's a wasted move. So, there's that. It really likes this. I guess just like softening up the position before it takes. I don't know why it's saying not to take. Maybe it doesn't want the free C file, the open C file. All right, so this is, this is a fork of the rook and the queen. Yeah, it's pointing it. Okay, so I was just making sure. So it really thinks this is a bad blunder. I'm surprised the eval went down that much. You found it. Awesome. Now you took the knight first. I have no idea why one would be better than the other, but you took the knight first. You remembered your knight was there, which is awesome. You used the fact that moving there to attack the queen is a move with tempo. Really awesome play. So now this move could have been a lot better, because if you take this pawn, then you double attack this square. You can potentially plunge the game into an endgame while you're up in material. Okay. All right. All right, they just lose a pawn here. All right, so you're up 7.6 evaluation. You're up a rook and a pawn. Their pawns are tripled. Your pawns are, like, beautiful. Their pawns are pawn islands. They have 3 pawn islands, and one of them is tripled. Worst pawn structure. Just check this out. For those of you at home who want to see the worst pawn structure ever known to mankind, this is it right here. So check. And now we're looking at, yeah, we're looking at this. So what do you do here? You just move. Okay, yeah. So this sets up what you want to do, which is pinning the king, or sorry, the queen to the king. Awesome play. Now you take the rook. Awesome, resigns. So we're gonna leave it at that. And hope it helps. Basically, I'm gonna put the channel in the description for those who want to watch. If you're also 700, I hope that those who are looking for instruction get it and are helped by it. So without further ado, thanks a lot. Thanks to Late Start Chess for allowing me to do this, and we will see you next time.